Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The bold and the beautiful spoilers and updates tease that Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, might insist that Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, be dismissed due to a lingerie incident. Will Ridge Forrester's, Thorsten K. allegiance be put to the test when Taylor gives him a stern ultimatum to fire Brooke or else? In the week spanning April 7 to 11, Taylor will stumble upon an astonishing revelation at Forrester Creations. Upon entering the CEO's office, she will be confronted with a sight that ignites her fury. The latest weekly preview video from B&B showcases Brooke stepping out from a changing screen dressed in lingerie. "Ridge, is that you?" Brooke inquires in the teaser. A bra and panties in lavender lace is what she has on, nothing else, not even a chiffon cover-up or a feather boa. As she glances down at the exquisite outfit she's donned, she describes it as divine. Naturally, Brooke's nonchalant attitude and appreciation for the lingerie suggest she might be modeling it for professional reasons. The Brooke's bedroom line has always been a bestseller, ever since she started it, and she might be eager to hear Ridge's thoughts on the lingerie's potential success. However, Taylor clearly disapproves, as evidenced by the icy glare she directs at Ridge's ex in the preview clip. From Taylor's perspective, it appears that Brooke is making a play for Ridge in hopes of rekindling their romance, kind of like when Hope Logan, Annika Noel, fell in her son-in-law's lap. Even when Brooke notices Taylor's presence and hurriedly tries to clarify her intentions, Taylor may remain unconvinced. It's not hard to picture Taylor believing that Brooke is merely leveraging the bedroom line as a pretext to showcase herself and entice Ridge. Ridge serves as the co-CEO of the company, leading Taylor to believe he has more pressing matters than to comment on Brooke's lingerie line. Feeling disrespected in her relationship with Ridge, Taylor may argue that enough is enough. Will she voice her concerns to Ridge and insist that he let Brooke go? This situation could be the tipping point for Taylor, who might feel that Ridge needs to establish clearer boundaries in light of his commitment to her. This could place Ridge in a difficult position, as he would prefer to maintain harmony with Taylor, yet he may ultimately support Brooke, viewing the matter as strictly professional. Taylor might view Ridge as somewhat gullible if he genuinely thinks that Brooke isn't making advances and resorting to underhanded tactics to rekindle their relationship. It's possible that Taylor could challenge Ridge on whether he actually wants to be chaste. Even with Ridge's expectations of a future with Taylor, he might reconsider his stance and eventually return to Brooke. Recent spoilers for the CBS soap suggest that the story between Brooke and Ridge may not be completely finished, so keep an eye out for any significant romantic developments on the horizon. It had been a long time coming, but Taylor Hayes was finally ready to make a move. The woman who had once been pushed aside, who had quietly endured the turbulent, often painful love triangle between herself, Ridge Forrester, and Brooke Logan, was no longer willing to remain in the background. Taylor was determined to take control of her destiny, no more waiting for Ridge to make up his mind. No more lingering in the shadows, hoping for a chance that might never come. She had always been the one to step back when it came to Ridge, allowing him to navigate his complicated feelings between her and Brooke. She had been the supportive ex-wife, the loving mother, and the understanding friend. She had played the role of the selfless woman who stood by while Ridge moved back and forth between his two great loves. But this time, things would be different. Taylor had decided that she would make the boldest move of her life, and Ridge would have no choice but to face the consequences of his actions. Chapter 1. The Beginning of the End. The Forrester mansion had seen its fair share of dramatic moments. Its grandiose hallways, its elegant furniture, the iconic view of the Los Angeles skyline. Every corner held a memory of Ridge's complicated love life. Taylor sat in the living room, her hands resting on her lap, her mind running a mile a minute. She had made a decision. It was no longer about playing the role of the passive observer. Taylor was done being the backup option. Ridge had always been torn between Taylor and Brooke, Though Brooke had always been the one who held the upper hand. She was the one Ridge always returned to, the one who could do no wrong in his eyes. Brooke had it all: beauty, charm, and an uncanny ability to draw Ridge back into her arms, no matter how many times he had pledged his loyalty to Taylor. But Taylor knew that she had something Brooke didn't. She had depth, a strong connection to Ridge that went beyond the physical attraction. She was the one who had been there for him during the toughest moments of his life. They shared children, history, and a bond that could never be broken. But all that history didn't seem to matter to Ridge. He was always drawn to Brooke, no matter what. And while Taylor had once resigned herself to that reality, she couldn't do so any longer. She wanted to fight for her place in Ridge's heart, and if it meant making a bold move, then so be it. Chapter 2. Brooke's Fragile Victory. Meanwhile, at Brooke's home, the tension was thick in the air. Brooke had always been Ridge's first love, the one who could make his heart race with a single glance. But lately even Brooke had begun to notice the cracks in their relationship. She could see it in his eyes, the distant look, the hesitation in his voice. It was as though Ridge wasn't entirely present when he was with her, as though his mind was somewhere else. Brooke tried to brush it off. She told herself that it was just a phase, that things would settle. Ridge would come back to her, as he always did. She had built her entire life around the belief that their love was unshakable. But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was changing. "Ridge, what's going on?" she asked one evening, as they sat together in her living room. "You've been distant lately. Are you sure you're okay?" Ridge had taken a deep breath. "Brooke, I don't know how to explain this, but I've been feeling torn between you and Taylor. I can't deny that there's still a part of me that's drawn to her." Brooke's heart sank. She had always known that Ridge's history with Taylor was something that would never truly go away, but hearing him admit it so openly hurt more than she expected. She wanted to be the woman who had all of Ridge's heart, not just a part of it. "Ridge, I thought we were past this," Brooke said, her voice trembling slightly. "I thought you had made your choice." Ridge looked at her with deep sorrow. "I have, Brooke, but the thing is, I don't know if I made the right choice." Brooke stared at him, speechless. The words were like a punch to her gut. She had never imagined that Ridge would doubt his commitment to her. As she tried to process his words, her mind raced. Could it be that Taylor was making her move? Was she coming after Ridge again, trying to reclaim what she had lost all those years ago? Chapter 3. Taylor's Bold Plan. Taylor knew what she had to do. She had spent enough time watching Ridge waver, torn between his loyalty to her and his overwhelming passion for Brooke. It was clear to her now that Ridge didn't know what he truly wanted, and it was even clearer that Brooke was not going to let go of Ridge without a fight. Taylor couldn't compete with Brooke's charm and allure. But what she had, what no one else could offer Ridge, was an undeniable connection. A deep emotional bond that had been built over years of love, sacrifice, and shared experience. She couldn't ignore it any longer. It was time for Ridge to make a choice, and she wasn't going to let him off the hook. It was a cool evening when Taylor made the decision to confront Ridge. She had invited him to her home for a conversation, a chance to clear the air and discuss the future. She wasn't going to let the situation drag on any longer. When Ridge arrived, he looked at her with those familiar, conflicted eyes. "Taylor, what's going on? Why did you ask me to come here?" Taylor took a deep breath, steeling herself for what she was about to say. "Ridge, I've spent years letting you go back and forth between Brooke and me. I've watched you struggle with your feelings, and I've watched Brooke manipulate you time and time again. But I can't do that anymore. I won't be your second choice, Ridge. I'm done waiting." Ridge's eyes widened. "Taylor, No," she interrupted. "You don't get to explain yourself. You've had plenty of time to figure this out, and now it's time for you to make a decision. It's either me or it's Brooke. But you can't have both." Ridge was silent for a long moment. Taylor could see the conflict in his eyes, the fear, the doubt. He loved both women, that was clear. But what had once been an easy decision for him was now an impossible one. "I can't choose between you and her, Taylor," Ridge said softly. "I don't know what to do." Taylor stood up, her posture proud and confident. "Then you've made your choice, Ridge. You've chosen Brooke. And I'm okay with that. But don't ever come back to me, expecting me to wait for you again. I won't do it." Ridge's heart dropped. He had never seen Taylor like this before. She was strong, resolute, and for the first time in years, he saw her standing up for herself. Ridge knew that she was right. He had taken her for granted for too long. But the question was it too late to fix things? Chapter 4. The Dilemma. As the days went by, Ridge found himself torn. He couldn't stop thinking about Taylor's words. She had made herself clear, he had to choose. There was no more back and forth, no more waiting for the right moment. It was now or never. Meanwhile, Brooke had noticed the shift in Ridge's demeanor. He wasn't as present as he had been. He seemed distracted, distant. And she couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed between them. She knew Taylor was capable of making a bold move, but this was different. This wasn't just a temporary setback. This was something much more serious. One evening, Ridge sat in his office, staring out the window, wrestling with the choice that loomed over him. He had always believed that his heart belonged to Brooke, but Taylor's words had hit him harder than he expected. He had spent years building a life with Brooke, but there was a part of him that was still drawn to Taylor. Their history, their children, their connection, it was something Brooke could never replicate. But could he really turn his back on the woman he had spent so much time with? Could he leave Brooke, the woman who had always been there for him? It was a choice that would define his future, a choice that would have consequences far beyond anything he could imagine. The love triangle that had defined Ridge's life for so long was coming to a head, and he would have to make the decision that would change everything. Chapter 5. The Final Choice. In the end, Ridge made his choice. The question was, would it be the right one? Would he finally choose the woman who had always been there for him, or would he go back to the one who had always held his heart? The future of his relationship with Brooke and Taylor hung in the balance. Ridge had to choose, but no matter what decision he made, someone would be left heartbroken. And as for Taylor, she had already made peace with whatever the outcome might be. She was no longer the woman who waited. She was the woman who had reclaimed her power, and now it was up to Ridge to decide if he was ready to fight for her. The story was far from over. Ridge's choice would define the next chapter in the lives of all three of them, Taylor, Brooke, and Ridge. The stage was set. The bold move had been made. Now the only question that remained was, who would Ridge choose? This story covers a pivotal moment in the bold and the beautiful, diving deep into Taylor's decision to make a bold move and Ridge's internal struggle between his two great loves. It creates the tension, drama, and emotional stakes that fans of the soap would expect. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Boldy and BAUTFUL UPDAT YouTube channel for more update news.